moment I now have another abundance of little gems because Ladylegs on my WhatsApp has been sending me lots of links of her Instagram where she's put these videos and she's sending them to me. She must have sent me about 30 of them. A lot of them are very interesting, but I have taken some of them and put them in this video, and it is great that other people have minds and think about things and work out their truths or what they think things can be. I just like it because, you know, over the years, you know, like Richard, the beer guy, sent me a bit of a video of Santos. He said it was my video. It was 2016. We've been doing this for a long time. You know, that's 8 years where I've been viral and then YouTube have tried to kill me off because obviously the BlackRock family own it now, like they own everything else. But yes, Ladylegs sent me these, so we've put this little combination together, and thank you, my darling.
Has been completely fabricated. At first we thought maybe the Dark Ages were just unclear, but it turns out they were invented to push a lot of events further into the past. We realized that it wasn't just small parts of history that might be wrong, everything was made up. One fascinating thing is the architecture we find around the world. In almost every city you'll find ancient Gothic-style buildings with incredibly intricate designs. People look at them and say, oh, that's just how they built things back then, but some of these buildings are absolutely stunning. Think about it. If we lived in a feudal society where everyone was working just to survive, how would anyone have had the time, resources, or motivation to build something so elaborate and that worked the way they did? These buildings weren't just practical structures like free energy generators, they were artistic expressions. They were built to be functional and beautiful, to celebrate what was being created. But we don't build like that anymore. The complexity and beauty of these structures are clues that we didn't live in the same pay-to-survive system we're trapped in now. Tartaria was a global civilization, incredibly advanced and powered by free energy, likely based on etheric energy. It existed up until about 200 or 250 years ago. Estimates place its early origins around the mid-17th century, and its destruction came shortly after. They've been lying to you all along.
Wouldn't it be crazy if I told you that Egyptians did not build the pyramids? Wouldn't it be crazy if a ChatGPT bot agreed with the statement that it was nearly impossible for Egyptians to have built the pyramids based on known stats and facts? It'd be crazy if the pyramids had visible signs of water damage on their outer walls. It'd be crazy if the Queen's chamber shafts had traces of hydrochloric acid and zinc chloride, which when combined creates hydrogen. The hydrogen gas building up would have created pressure on the stones. Wouldn't it be crazy if the limestones on the inside walls of the pyramids were a special kind of quartz from like 500 miles away, by the way? Wouldn't it be crazy if when pressure is applied to those specific quartz stones, that creates an electrical current? Yeah. It'd be crazy if the pyramids used to be covered in TUC limestone, which lacked magnesium, making it pretty much an electrical inhibitor. Crazy if whoever built the pyramids knew the exact size of the earth. Because if you take the height of the Great Pyramid and multiply it by 43,200, you get the exact polar radius of the earth. Crazy if there were aquifers under the pyramids, which were recently discovered. This sort of water pressure could have also helped in conducting electricity. So, wouldn't it be crazy if I told you that pyramids were power plants built tens of thousands of years ago? Allegedly. That would be crazy. Wouldn't it be crazy?
Y'all remember this scene from The Matrix, right? I have a crazy theory, yo. This joint just came to my head. Remember the scene where she had to basically run to the telephone booth, right? That made me think. I'm like, telephone booth, Matrix. That was one of the main things. They had to pick up a landline to get out the Matrix. I didn't want to show that scene because you know how TikTok get, right? But all in all, that made me go into a whole rabbit hole. I'm like, what really happened to all of the, like, telephone booths? Or even just the normal pay phones that we used to see on the corners and shit, right? Then it led me to asking, is a telephone and a cell phone the same thing? And it says no, right? I literally never seen anyone take these things down, ever. They just all disappeared. But what if, y'all, this was our real way of leaving out the Matrix, like for real? I think that the telephone was something special, like telepathy, telekinesis. And now we literally have cell phones. I think that instead of the phones being connected to the land, they're now connected to us. Cell phone. Reading the membranes, literally, that's how it knows what we want and everything. Oh shit, download crazy. Just think about it, y'all. The Matrix even warned us about the AI that's happening right now. Wake up!
Where do you think your religions came from? 300 years ago, scientists began peeling back the layers of reality. They found molecules, atoms, particles, electrons, neutrons, protons. They literally uncovered the forces that govern everything. And where do you think your religions came from? 300 years ago, scientists began peeling back the layers of reality. They found molecules, atoms, particles, electrons, neutrons, protons. They literally uncovered the forces that govern everything. And eventually, in quantum physics, they discovered the unified field, the source of all creation. The unified field isn't just something that you can touch or see. It is nothing. Unmanifest, pure potential, zero-point energy, yet from it, everything emerges. Every atom, every force, every being arises from this oneness. But here's the truth. You can't reach this field by walking to it. You can only get to it by turning inward. You have to transcend thoughts, and then you will experience this infinite. And this is where true creativity, intelligence, love, bliss reside. It's limitless and eternal. This deeper truth is not something that's new. It's literally encoded in the world's wisdom for over a millennium. You look at all of the gods in history, they're all true in gods. They are three in one. Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, Osiris, Isis, Horus, the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Even the patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You have the three major religions, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. Three literally represents the forces of creation, active, passive, and neutralizing. It's literally the secret Tesla pointed to with 369. The truant isn't just symbolic, it's the foundation of how everything in the universe operates. And yet everybody's so blind to it because they're too busy following fucking religion, which is why you are a surface dweller. You follow traditions without question. Catholics don't even realize they're worshiping an ancient fish god. It's literally there in the symbols, the architecture, the history, but nobody looks, nobody questions. Just think about the game The Legend of Zelda. There's literally a holy trinity in the game, a Triforce, symbolizing power, wisdom, and courage. These three golden triangles literally reflect the universal forces of creation, the active energy of power, the passive balance of wisdom, and the neutralizing force of courage. The Triforce literally teaches us that the true power is achieved only when strength, wisdom, and courage align as one. It's literally a universal truth encoded in myth. But here you are, following religion, acting like a surface dweller.
Wait for the drop. Going up.
You didn't think I'd forgotten about our little island, did you? Oh, no name unless you know it. None of the apps like it. You can't even find it or Prince Edward Island. Need to Marion Island and like Bouvet. Poof, from 2017 to 2022. On this app, there's a weather marker, so you can see what the temperature is by Bouvet Island. Oh, what's this marker? Remove me, version 3. Dev test spot. Another dev test spot. Remove me 22. I hope they're not doing testing by our island. By the way, this report from the US Army Research Center is investigating gravity anomalies by Marion Island and Bouvet Island. I'm sure I'm not the only one missing the blob. I guess it was just a glitch. Oh, by the way, venomous snakes have been washing up on the shores of South Africa. Apparently most uncommon. They say strong sea currents are pushing them into colder waters. Even 500 turtle hatchlings also washed up. I'm sure it's just a coincidence.
deeper meaning behind why love prevails overall, all right? I'm gonna really unpack some things today, so just really take a seat and listen to this. Now, what you see right here in this picture depiction is referred to as the archons, all right? The Gnostics believe that these are entities that actually persuade our thought patterns, all right? Now, we only see 1% of the light photon spectrum. So there is entities that are consistently around us that we have no ability of seeing within our visual spectrum. These entities thrive on fear, anxiety, anger, grief, sadness, all your low frequency vibrations. These entities actually consume it as sustenance. It's actually their food. There's an extraterrestrial faction referred to as the Hidden Hand, okay? They are descendants from Enlil. Some may refer to them as the Eternals. They don't die, all right? They live for centuries and centuries, meaning that you can see one that's 500 years old and it appears to not have aged in this third dimensional construct. Someone say, oh, why they don't age? The reason why they don't age is because they consume fear, guilt, grief, anxiety. So they're consistently maintaining sustenance on this planet, and that's primarily why we're in a level zero civilization. Why our civilization hasn't prospered to even a level 1 civilization yet. We're very primitive on this planet. This is why they promote separation. This is why we're separated by race, sex, financial status. We're separated by so many different things, and they want to keep us separated. They don't want us to unify. They actually want love to be the last thing that we actually go towards. They want that to be the last thing they go towards, because unfortunately any form of guilt, grief, anxiety, stress, or strife gives them sustenance, okay? They thrive and eat off of that. So you have to remember, these hidden factions, these secret organizations, these Luciferian societies, they don't want you to promote love. They can't exist in a planet that vibrates on a certain frequency. Once the frequency gets too high for them, they have to leave. They have to leave, unfortunately. So what you have to do is we have to raise the frequency of the planet, and that's why love is the highest frequency, okay? Remember, again, we only see 1% of the light photon spectrum. A lot of times when you aggravated, somebody's stressing you out, it could be an archon right there, saying, yeah, do this, do that, saying little things that telepathically you pick up, and you may deny it because our higher mind knows that these things exist, but our ego-based mind, our ego-driven mind is stuck in this third dimensional construct, is unaware, and plus a victim of indoctrination. So we tend to fall to the loops of these archons, and they also been here for centuries, so they studied the humans and they exactly know how we work. So we have to really operate in love in order to defeat these malevolent beings.
They tell you that the sun hurts you, but they don't tell you that the old hospitals used to have sun decks, because the sun detoxifies you by giving you electromagnetic energy. They tell you about the magnetic fields of magnets, but they don't tell you about the magnetic field around your body. Disease shows up in this field before it manifests physically in your body. The sun is electric, the earth is magnetic, and you are electromagnetic. This is why the ancients had grounding shoes to ground to the magnetic earth. Canes were not just for fashion, they were used for conductors of electromagnetic energy to ground the body to the earth. Now we wear sunglasses to block the sun's healing rays to entering our nervous system. We have lost true connection with our true nature, been turned into electrical batteries running through a matrix circuit board.
Do you think humans are aliens? Do you think we came here from somewhere else?
1000%. In fact, in one of my movies called Among Us, we were talking exactly about this subject. I was interviewing one of the top geneticists, Gary Nolan. The human DNA follows what we call Moore's Law. So Moore's Law, it's when the system multiplies complexity over a specific period of time. You go back from today, 2024, 600 million years, it would be half the complexity. So if you did that, you get to the original point where it can't go back anymore, meaning is when the first human DNA was born, let's say, and that turns out to be 9 billion years ago.
Wow.
So if the human DNA is 9 billion years old, but planet Earth is 5 billion years, this means that the human DNA is older than the planet.
Wow.
So where was it?
Interesting.
Does that make sense?
It does.
That's proof that the human DNA existed somewhere else.
Tesla is pretty much a surveillance vehicle at this point. It's powered by electricity, which could be turned off at any moment. In fact, in China right now, if you have a poor social credit score, you can't charge your Tesla, which is crazy. What happens when that gets introduced in the West and everybody has an electric vehicle? It's a mechanism of control. You have one kill switch and you can basically turn off all sorts of travel. Think about it. Regulation says you can't leave 5 kilometers from your house. Oh, well, you don't want to comply? We're tracking through your car. Your car has Wi-Fi. Turn off the car.
Leading cause of death in the United States is medical intervention. Medical intervention kills about 1 million people a year. Doctors kill over 1 million people a year, and people go to their doctor and think nothing of it. Problem with our medical doctors is that these very good people make the biggest mistake of their life, and they go to medical school. 85% of what they're taught is unscientific nonsense. And then they're cut loose on the general population to practice unscientific nonsense. The medicine we have is now so far behind the science that it is impossible to bring it up to date. We have to take the medicine we have and discard it and start over. Where did we ever get the idea that we can help a sick person if we give them poison? It's a pretty stupid system, but it makes enormous amounts of money, and the drug companies have enormous power. Ayurvedic medicine's about 6,000 years old, Chinese medicine's about 5,000 years old, allopathic medicine's 100 years old. It's already on the way out because it's basically stupid, and it doesn't work, and it's very dangerous. Trauma care and crisis intervention, we're at about 15% of medicine. The other 85% of medicine is basically nonsense.
Have you heard the Pope prophecy?
No.
Have you heard that?
No.
Yo, this is like the scariest shit because it's real. So in the Vatican, they found this book, right? And this book, it predicted every single one of the popes that became pope.
Really?
Literally every single one. Now, this guy, he said after the middle one, 422 years later, that's when the last pope will be named. That's what he said, okay?
Yeah.
Check this out. Every single pope has been named in it. Even the most recent one. What's crazy is, if you go to the Vatican, there's places where you put the pictures of the pope. They have for every single one they ever had. And they only have space for one more. So, in the book it says, once they put the face of the last pope in that place, the judgment day will come. That's what they're saying.
Is there like a time like that they said, or just like whenever?
Check this out, right? So remember I said like 420 something days, or 20 years, 420 years. It lines up exactly to 2027.
No.
The Simpsons predicted that no one has ever been to space because space is not real. There's a new theory from The Simpsons that claims we can't go to space because we are enclosed by a transparent barrier called the firmament. Some say that this means there is no space above the Earth. Homer Simpson and his family are warning us. In fact, they say the area above the world is just water. Think about when you look at the stars in the sky and why sometimes they float a little bit. This might be why it's called the Milky Way, just like a liquid. The Bible actually confirms this in the book of Genesis and says that the firmament separates the earth from the waters above. This theory gets even crazier because the government might be trying to break the firmament. In 1962, the military sent a nuclear missile into the sky and claimed that it was to test the atmosphere's reaction. But the real reason was for them to see if they could break the firmament. They named this attempt Operation Fishbowl. Coincidence? I think not. What do you think?
I just would like to know, what is that going to do for them? If they were to ever break it, do y'all want a trophy? Like, and in the lie, like, honestly, they're gaslighting us. That's the crazy part. Y'all don't feel no type of way about? It's going to be people that's going to defend that. They're gaslighting the heck out of us. Y'all have a blessed one. I'll see you on the next one. Shalom, shalom.